Hi friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So I want to show you a Cybertruck pumper today. And in fact, it's funny because I make jokes about these things, but it turns out it's all too very real. So take a look for yourself.
The Cybertruck was unveiled at a Bonkers launch party in LA, which I was actually lucky enough to go to. And I remember thinking when I saw this thing, oh my God, what the hell is that? Nobody knew what it was. It was gonna be this super crazy design. And I gotta say, the Cybertruck, is it art? Is it a car? Crazy risk it was to design something like this.
So guys, is it art? Is it a car? I mean, it was a bonkers party. And I laugh and I just want to point this stuff out to you because, you know, sometimes I get hate in comments, but you have to remind yourself that YouTube and much of social media is a platform for children. I'm just being honest with you guys. And so the people who make these kind of, you know, pumping videos, essentially making it for high school students or people of high school student mentality. And it's funny when you actually see it because, again, I make jokes on this stuff, but it's actually real. This kind of TikTok world bleeds into the car world.
Millions of dollars of backlog. I mean, let's just dive into the numbers and get into the fun stuff here. $0 in marketing besides a launch party and word of mouth of how badass this thing looks. And they have got 1 million pre-orders. That's right, 1 million pre-orders for a $60,000 to $70,000 truck that has never even hit the road, that nobody's even test drove. And a lot of those, sure, they might cancel, but we are talking about a 3, 4, 5, 6 year long wait list if you put your name down today. So if you want a Cybertruck, I would go to the store, I would put your name down ASAP.
So I watch this stuff and like the first question that comes to mind is like, is this guy working for Tesla? And the reality is probably not. But in the social media space, essentially, if you hype and sort of like glaze over any negatives, then suddenly people are like, oh my God, you're so awesome. You're so positive. Let's be positive together. And people like that kind of stuff and people eat it up. But the problem is, though, is you have to turn off your brain. So, for example, in the situation of the pre-order thing, the barrier to entry for pre-order is really low. It's $100, right? And so is that a legitimate pre-order when any high school kid can pre-order, you know, Cybertruck for $100, get whatever email and then show it all to their, you know, friends and stuff like that? Say, hey, look guys, I'm so cool. I pre-ordered a Cybertruck for $100. We don't even know the price on this thing. He even saying like maybe it's 60 to 70, and then he's kind of making the case that people know the price and yet they're still putting down the $100, like if that's anything. And you know, my opinion on this stuff is that if these were legitimate pre-orders, you would be able to configure, you would know the price, and you'd have to put down, say, you know, 10%, 20% or whatever, right? But not like $100 on a, say, $70,000 car. You know, it's just kind of ridiculous. But, you know, the way that this guy talks is like, if you want one now, you got to sign up today. So that's why I wonder, you know, does this guy work for Tesla? But probably not. Just he's part of the hype machine that is popular on YouTube.
The lines around the block have been crazy to even see this thing, and I think justifiably so. I only have seen it in person once, and that was in 2019.
So what's kind of funny here is like he's talking about lines around the block and that kind of stuff, and then he shows a picture. And I mean, yes, I can see there's people there, but I wouldn't necessarily call that like lines around the block and like massive amounts of people. But you can interpret that however you want. But this is how a hype video is like they take whatever, you know, kernel of truth that they can find, and then they literally just hype it up to full extent. So let me show you some more and you get an idea how this works.
And I think you're looking at, you know, 50,000 on the bottom range to 75, 80,000 on the max. That's probably before FSD. So you're looking at, you know, I want to say $70,000 average selling price for the Cybertruck. So that's probably a premium-ish version compared to most pickup trucks, but also not that crazy, especially when you look at other electric pickups like the Rivian, where you can't even get one for 75 grand. You're going to spec it out. It's going to be closer to 85, 90. That's like the lowest you could get. So the pricing for what you get range, self-driving capabilities, even with just autopilot, not even FSD, supercharger network. I think the value for money that you get for technology for a Tesla is unparalleled. We're going to see that in the pickup truck market as well.
And it's funny because I actually addressed this just yesterday saying, hey, you know, what's the Cybertruck going to come in price in that? And yes, look at the price of other trucks. But the crazy thing about these hype videos is like he's making the argument that if you pay 70, 80 grand for a truck that you're getting incredible value. And I don't know what to say. I mean, it's like, do kids really believe this stuff? And the thing that's so crazy about it is maybe they do because this is essentially embodies what's wrong with our youth culture, what's wrong with essentially American consumers. People just spend way too much money on stuff like this and dig themselves huge holes. and they fall for this hype. So I also want to get your honest thoughts. Like, are there people out there that is this guy for real? Does he legitimately say, hey guys, you got to buy, $70,000-$80,000 truck because you're getting incredible value? Like, do people honestly believe this stuff? And that's a legitimate question. And do you have friends that like say that, oh wow, I gotta buy a Cybertruck, it's only 85,000. I mean, look at the value that I get. So maybe I'm crazy. I looked at the price of the lowest truck these days, Ford F-150. It's like 33,000, something like that. So like, if I'm paying double for what I could get a just normal truck at, I mean, how do you justify that that's value, if you guys see what I'm saying here? So I got to get your thoughts on this stuff as well. But yes, this is most of YouTube and most how young people talk, I guess.
So from a financial standpoint, you're looking at very slow production at first, lots and lots of losses, but all of that changing slowly as they begin to hit volume production in about 18 months, which according to the last conference call that Elon said is about 250,000 units a year. If we do just a quick math on that, 250,000 units a year, 70,000 ASP, that's 17.5 billion in revenue.
And so then this last part is sort of the embodiment of what a pumper does. So basically what they do, they take whatever Elon says and treat that as like the absolute truth, and it's absolutely going to happen, right? So, according to this guy, yes, they're going to make 250,000 Cybertruck. They're going to do that in like a year and a half. And Elon, everything he predicts about the production, he thinks is going to be 100% true. And the thing that's so crazy about this stuff is, like, again, you got to turn off your brain. So as I mentioned to you before, where is my Roadster? And Cybertruck's they've been hyping this stuff for years. And during this launch event, I think they're only going to like put out maybe 25 cars, maybe 50, maybe 100 if we're lucky. But yet, somehow in a year and a half, this guy, if you believe everything that Elon Musk says, they're going to make 250,000 a year. And so, I understand, guys. I get it more than you know. If you come out here and you tell people the truth, it's not fun. What's fun is to be like, yo, I saw the Cybertruck, man. It is bonkers. 85,000. Look at that value you're going to get. Oh, Elon Musk is awesome. And when you drive that car down the street, everyone's going to like, oh my God, who's that? Who is that car? I want to jump in bed with that guy. That's essentially the kind of world that we live in. And I just wanted to illustrate this to you because it's funny, because I've never actually even seen this guy before. And when I see it, I make fun of this stuff, but it turns out it's all too very real. The TikTok world, the YouTube world, these kind of stuff, it all blends together with Cybertruck, Elon Musk, and hype. So it is what it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this stuff. And when you watch this stuff, do you think, wow, this guy is totally telling the truth and he really believes what he says? Or is he just going with the YouTube algorithm and saying, hey, I got to hype up high school kids and that's what they want, so I give it to them? So anyway, please share your thoughts on this thing, and I'll catch you next video.